everyone, it's Gillian and welcome to today's Extreme Slime Makeover. And today's makeover is a very exciting one because it is a Christmas themed makeover and I love creating slimes themed around the holidays, so I thought I would challenge myself to take some old unloved slimes and give them a makeover and make them totally Christmas. So the first slime that I wanted to make over was this clear slime that I had from Kawaii Slime Company, and this is definitely a few months old now. As you can see, it's super melted, but I loved the fact that it was just a clear glue based slime. There was nothing else in it, and to be honest, I was really excited to totally transform this. So I first poured it into a bowl and saw that it was completely melted, which was fantastic because it meant that I didn't have to add any glycerin to bring it back to a liquid state. So I just decided to go in with some food coloring and I added a tiny bit of blue, and then I went in with a very wintry Christmas scent. So my idea for this slime is the North Pole, and I wanted to call it a ticket to the North Pole. So that is the end goal. So as you can see, the scent made the slime a little bit cloudy, and that's what I wanted. I wanted it to look kind of like a jelly slime. I also added a lot of glitter until I was happy with how sparkly and magical it looked. I also decided to add a pump of lotion just to make it a little bit more opaque. I really didn't want this to be a clear slime. I wanted it to look quite icy. Then I decided it was time to activate the slime, and I really wanted my final slime to have two different textures. So the first thing I needed to do was to activate all the slime, and then I'm going to split it into two. I decided to split this slime in half and leave half of it as that jelly texture, but to the other half I decided to add some instant snow powder, and I really wanted it to have an icy effect, and it turned out perfect. Just looking at the slime reminds me of snow and the North Pole and just winter and all that, and I was so happy with how the snow powder mixed back into the slime. It honestly created the best sizzly slime, and that was really hard to say, sizzly slime, and I was obsessed with it. Once I was happy with my two different textures of slime, I just swirled them together and added them to a large clear container. I then topped it off with some wintry additions, starting with some really pretty blue iridescent flakes, also these adorable little snowflake confetti pieces, and then some sprinkles, and then some wintry North Pole charms. And I'm so happy with it. So here's the slime before. It was a perfect slime to make over, and here is it after. So this is my ticket to the North Pole slime, and it's all things Christmassy and winter, and I love the pretty shade of blue and how the glitter catches the light. Let me know what you think of this slime. I am obsessed with it. Moving on to slime makeover number 2, I picked out this slime which I've had sitting around for the longest time, and I honestly have no idea what kind of slime this is. I wasn't even sure of the scent. It was completely separated. As you can see, there's this powdery layer to the top of it. It's very separated and it's a bit dried out, and honestly I did not know if this makeover was going to work. I had no idea what I was jumping into, but I remained positive and I kind of had a plan and I just hoped for the best. So I started off by adding it to a bowl, and it was definitely once upon a time a clay based slime, so I really needed to make sure that I mixed it so well and made sure that it was one consistency. It was definitely a bit lumpy, there were some clumps of dry slime in there, but I just mixed it for quite a while and it ended up looking really smooth and reminded me a lot of cake batter. I then added some glycerin because it was really thick and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to work with it if it was still super thick, so I added quite a bit of glycerin and this melted it. I'm pretty sure this had a lot of clay once upon a time, so I had no idea if this slime was going to reactivate or what it was going to turn into, but I decided to carry on, so I also added some lotion and mixed it in. Then I decided to split this slime in half because I wanted to have 2 different colors of pinkish red in this slime. So to this first batch, I just tried to lighten it. I really wanted a beautiful light pink slime, but no matter how much white food coloring I added, it just would not lighten. So I decided after a while to just go with it and just work with this color. So I also added some conditioner. Here I'm adding some baby oil, just trying to make it a bit glossier and a bit thicker. I really wanted a thick glossy slime. And then I decided to once again try and get a beautiful light pink and add more white food coloring, but all this did was melt the slime even more. So we're going with this beautiful Barbie pink instead. Then I'm just adding some scent, and I really want the finished slime to be inspired by a Candyland hot chocolate. So a lot of pink and a lot of Christmas candies, and I just wanted it to look super magical. Here I am reactivating this first lot of slime, and it reactivated into a beautiful, super soft butter slime. It was such a dreamy texture and I was obsessed with it. I played with it for so long. Moving on to the other half of the slime, I decided that I wanted to have a candy cane drizzle in my hot chocolate inspired slime. So I took the other half of the slime and I made it a darker pinkish red to start off with. I then added quite a bit of lotion and mixed this in. It needed to be glossy but also thick. I then added some baby oil. Remember, I really want this to look like a syrup and I really wanted it to drizzle beautifully out of a piping bag. I then added a candy cane scent because this is going to be a candy cane syrup inspired slime, and then I'm going to go in with the tiniest bit of activator, and I did this because I still wanted this slime to slightly hold its shape when I drizzled it. I didn't want it to just pour out of the piping bag, so I slowly added activator and just mixed it together. And then I took a disposable piping bag, and using the spatula, I just added a little bit of slime at a time to the piping bag, and I was so excited to see if this was going to work. I had no idea if it was just going to pour everywhere out of the piping bag or if I was going to actually be able to drizzle it and it would be super satisfying. So we're going to set that aside for now, and now we're going to move on to the third part of this slime, and this is going to be a whipped cream inspired slime makeover. So I took this white glossy slime that I had left over from a few months ago and I decided to make it whipped cream themed. So I first added some scent and mixed this all together. Then I went in with some cornstarch to thicken it up and also to make it more matte. Again, to thicken it up, I added some conditioner, and then it was time to reactivate the slime. So I just added a small amount at a time and it reactivated so quickly, which was so awesome. And then once it was reactivated, I went in with some soft clay and mixed this in just to make sure that when I did a beautiful swirl on top of my slime that it wouldn't just melt everywhere. And this created the most amazing, soft, dreamy butter slime. Now that all the slime is ready, it's time to put it all together. So I use this adorable little slime container that totally looks like a little parfait glass. I then drizzled some of the candy cane syrup inspired slime around the outside and then filled it with that beautiful pink butter, it would be like a buttery fluffy slime. And then added my whipped cream slime and then another drizzle of that candy cane syrup slime. I then topped it off with some candy themed sprinkles and charms, and I was so obsessed with how cute this was. I loved everything about it, especially the scent. So here's the slime before. It's definitely very sad looking, and then here is the slime after. It's just a Candyland dream, and I am so happy with how everything turned out. I was so nervous about using a piping bag to pipe slime, but it turned out perfectly and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out.